I'm not going to try to waste your time, okay? There's going to be 5 actionable steps here, which I genuinely think can improve your discipline as long as you do them, okay? That's all you have to do. You could do them today, and you'd probably see an increase in discipline, or increase in those traits. But then you have to make sure you do that every single day from this video on. And if you do that and you stay consistent, your discipline, bro, you'll be a fucking god. So, just listen and do these traits. And number 1, right, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to set a timer for our cold showers. Okay, you can do this right now. You could pause this video right now, just based on that point. Put a timer on, go into a cold shower. I know some people are going to do it, and I know those people are going to be successful. The rest of you, you can keep watching if you want, but those people who have paused this video right now, got their phone, put a timer on, go into a cold shower, I know you're going to be successful. The reason I say you should do this is because what I used to do, right, I would have music playing while I was in a cold shower. Now I'd use this song to time how long I was in there because I knew roughly how long that song was. And as long as I stayed in there until the song was over, I knew I did the time I had to do. But what you can do is, right, you can set a timer, say like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, however long you want to stay in the shower. Then place your phone and make sure you stay in the shower until that time is over. Because what that does, right, it gives you an incentive. You know for a fact that this time period that you're staying in the cold shower isn't forever. It's only for these 5 minutes. And that's a philosophy you can apply to the rest of your life. Where it's any time something bad's going on, any time it feels like life's weighing on you, you have to understand that it's not forever. It's only for now. It won't breach on you in your future. And that this is only going to last for a period of time. And after that, everything's going to go back to normal. Everything's going to feel better. So anytime it feels like, oh, I'm fucked. Or, oh, this is shit. Oh, this isn't going to go well. Just know it's not forever. And eventually, things will make its way into a better position than it was before. But you have to do the actions towards that to make sure it happens. So that's like a little lesson from the time of cold shower. But make sure you do it right. Because as long as you're staying in the shower, as long as you stay disciplined and stay there, the uncomfortability, the pain of staying in that shower is what's going to make your mind grow. The longer you stay in the shower when you're feeling uncomfortable, the more your mind's going to grow, the more disciplined you become, the more character traits of a disciplined person you'll gain. Number 2 is meditation, right? You might be confused about how meditation relates to discipline, but I'll explain to you, right? Say I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to meditate, and I'm breathing in and out. And I have thoughts coming in my head here, here, and here. So say, for example, I'm meditating right now. If I don't try, birds come in my hand, then a parrot, then pirates somehow, then a shoe, a game I used to play, a sword, then Zelda. It's like all these things are making its way into my head. And if so much of that happens, and I can't be asked to stay for as long as the time is going for meditation, then I'm a bitch. Then my discipline isn't what I say it is. You have to sit there, and even when the time is going on, you have to keep working because it's hard, especially when you're starting. There's going to be so many thoughts. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard to keep track of moving all the thoughts out of the way and focusing on that breath. So you have to sit there and really think about it. Really think about your breath. And if you can't, and it feels annoying, and you're getting annoyed at yourself, and you feel like just breaking your phone or turning off the timer and not doing anything else, then you shouldn't do those things that's coming in your head, because that's what you call impulse control. You have to control your impulses. You might want to do that, but if you control your impulses, you're a disciplined person. That's what's important here. Right, number 3 I've got here is to stare at a wall. Right, you might be confused, but this is actually a very traditional old Indian mantra technique where you sit down cross-legged and stare at a wall. You can turn off your lights, but make sure your phone's on the outside of your room. Got time on that, and you can hear it after 30 minutes because you don't want to be sitting there for like an hour and not even know. If anything, it would be helpful for you, but just for this task, 30 minutes, right? So you'll sit there, cross-legged in front of the wall, and use it to test yourself. Use it as a way to see how disciplined you really are. Because a lot of people aren't as disciplined as they say they are. So you want to sit down and actually test yourself. Stare at the wall. But the thing is, right, the reason this is such a traditional technique is because it helps you release memories or things that you're supposed to do. When I did it and I sat down, it gave me ideas for content. It said, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this to your YouTube. And it also reminded me of things that I forgot to do, that I'd been leaving to the side, and reminded me that I needed to do them. You see, I have this friend called Will, And I told him that he should try this, and he tried it himself. And he had a very different experience than me. He said when he sat there, a bunch of colours came in front of his eyes and spirals and shit, and then he went to memories of his family and childhood, and then went to memories of him actually bullying me and how nasty kids could be. And he had all these memories coming in and coming out, and eventually the wall faded back in, the time was over. He had a very different experience, because when clients do this sort of task, what they say is that they get this emotional feedback and they release childhood trauma that they used to have. Some even started crying. So this task is really powerful. You can use it as a way to release emotional trauma, but you can also use it as a way to discipline yourself, as a way to test yourself, to see how disciplined you actually are as a person. So that's 3, steerable. Number 4, and I know a lot of you aren't going to do this, right? And this is really hard. Some people can't even grasp the concept of this one, so I need you to really focus, okay? Let me know if you can actually grasp the concept. So actually focus, pay attention. It's to tidy your room. Like, that's crazy, isn't it? I know you're not going to do it, right? I know you're going to think it's like, oh, I'm too good for this self-improvement bit of it. Like, this is beginner stuff. Like, no. If you're thinking that, you're probably the person that needs to do this. If your room is messy, how do you think that you can organize anything? I like to use my room as representation of my mind. And it actually works a lot of the time. It's that when days I'm hard working and I'm focused and I'm sharp, my room is usually tidy. But on the days that I'm not hard working, I'm not able to get work done, I feel lazy and everything just feels like a mess in my head, my room is usually messy. It's weird how there's a correlation between them, but there is. Now, how does this relate to discipline? Right, let me tell you. Say you wake up in the morning and you start doing your normal things, this and that, but your room is still messy. You're not a disciplined person because you're irresponsible, you're unable to tidy your room. So a way to develop discipline, when you wake up in the morning, first thing you do, tidy your room. Don't lay in bed, don't grab your phone. I want you to do this tomorrow morning, actually. Don't lay in bed, don't grab your phone. It's actually kind of difficult. I'll admit that. Like, when I started doing this, it was hard the first few times. Get up and tidy your room. That's all you have to do. That's all I'm saying. Okay? And then you can go do your work. Because this builds the character trait of not laying in bed and not being on your phone and not scrolling on social media. And instead you're getting up instantly out of bed and doing the work. And in this case, your work is tidying your room. And it builds up the trait of getting out of bed instantly. That's a trait that you'd like to have. It's something that I've started doing, where I would wake up, I usually wake up 3:30, and I'll wake up and I'll instantly get out of bed. I'll instantly sit on my chair, start scripting videos, start making my YouTube better in some sort of way, or doing some other piece of work that I have, for example, for school. So it's something that, if you can build that trait and you can hone it down and use it on the things that's necessary, where when you actually do have something to work on, it can be incredibly useful. But for now, I'm assuming you have nothing to work on and you need these steps to develop your discipline. So your work is to tidy your room as soon as you wake up, and then you can go about the rest of your day. So let me know how that goes, alright? Because I genuinely think that can help you develop some sort of traits and discipline. Right, number 5 is intermittent fasting. You've probably heard this a few times, but I need you to understand that if you're unable to focus on something just because you're hungry, I think you're a bitch. Okay? You have to think back to caveman times. You have to think back to when we were hunting. You think we woke up in the morning and first thing we did was eat? We didn't have that food. We had to hunt. We had to go out for the hunt and then eat later after the hunt, after the effort was put in. And that's the discipline they had then, but they didn't even have to think about it as discipline because it's just something they did. So that's what you have to do. You have to wake up in the morning and not eat. You see the time right now, it is 11:56. I woke up at 4:30 this morning. I filmed a YouTube video, I did an art piece, I passed my driving test. I've also edited the video and got thumbnails ready for it. It's ready for upload. And now I'm filming another video. And I still haven't eaten. That's how sharp and that's how focused, that's how productive I can be when I haven't eaten food. And that's something that you can do too. Because that's what we used to do. That means you can do it. And I know the first few nights, the first few mornings are going to be hard. And I know the first few mornings are going to be difficult because you're going to be hungry, you're going to want to eat. But what you have to do is you have to stop thinking about that and actually sit down and do the work. And then you'll be focused on the thing in front of you. And then you can eat later. Maybe intermittent fasting works like you wake up and then maybe 6 hours after waking up you can eat. So think about it like that, right? You have 6 hours of block period where you can just do complete, focused, sharp work, and then you can have a big meal after. So do that. Do that tomorrow morning, right? This is what I want you to do. Tomorrow morning, wake up, tidy your room, and don't eat anything until whatever work you have weighing on you is done. Because you'll be much more productive and much more focused to get that work done. Right? Do those things. That's number 5, intermittent fasting. There's also one more, right? Number 6. This is habit tracking, or using a habit tracker. This is something that I didn't really do, but I've seen a bunch of people do it, right? It's basically where you'll get a book and you'll make boxes of like this day, this day, this day, and you'll write the dates next to it. And you'll have your sort of self-improvement exercises at the top. So say for example meditation, reading, or gratitude journaling, all of those things. And you'll have boxes underneath them with the dates. And you will tick when you've done it on those days. You see, it's not something that I've had to do, because I didn't really find it useful to me to do habit tracking. I kind of just did them every day, and I held myself accountable in my own head. And I feel like people can do their habit tracking because it gives them some sort of reward, like, bro, I did this, I did this. It's like, it's sort of like a certificate of their achievement, which is nice, and I appreciate that. You can do that. It's something that I haven't done, but I know it's helped a lot of people, and maybe it might help you. It might make you more accountable if you can't keep yourself accountable at the moment. And it will help you be more disciplined because you're keeping yourself accountable every day and you're staying consistent. And that's what discipline is. And even though you don't feel like doing the task, you're still doing it. And that's discipline. So you can try that yourself, habit tracking, and see if it works for you. And all these things, right, I've made sure to make this as less bullshit as possible because you can apply all these 6 steps today or tomorrow and see an instant increase in your discipline and your character traits. So let me know if that helps you, and I hope that's been a bit motivating for improving your life in some sort of context. So go get it, man. Thank you for listening.